so much. Facebook and YouTube, whoever's watching right now, you could be doing anything with your time, but you're watching a live stream of someone playing instrumental music, and I really appreciate it. My name is Bureh. As you can see, I'm a guitar player, predominantly jazz, but I'm also like a producer of like um, hip hop and pop and other stuff like that. Um, I'm really excited to be playing for you guys today. It's been a while since I've done like played solo guitar. It's been a few months, and at first, like the thought of it, like it made me a little bit nervous to have to do this, to have to play solo again. But it's fun. I love it. I love the challenge, and I hope you're enjoying it so far. Um, so the tune I just played was, um, it was resemblant. No, that's not a word. It, it was reflective. That's it. It was reflective of um, something that happened to me almost 4 months ago now. One of the greatest blessings that could happen. My wife and I gave birth to our first child, a daughter. And I wrote this song, the tune I just played. I wrote it whilst my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and I called it Arya's song because that's my daughter's name. Yeah. Um, as you can see, I'm like heavily influenced by jazz. I love it. Um, that's like my main foundation. I love all types of music, but that's like that's like the foundation of everything, especially when it comes to writing music that I perform. Um, that the music that I release is jazz. Like I said before, I have my hand in other stuff, but like the music that I make kind of for me is jazz. Yeah. I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna play a standard, jazz standard. Cool, cool. So that was a tune, a jazz standard called "Alone Together." Now I love "Alone Together." It's like whenever I play like a jazz gig, whether like in a trio setting, quartet setting, whatever. If I'm the one that's deciding the set, I always have to, I always have to throw in "Alone Together." I love it. It's like I studied jazz in university, and it was like one of like the first songs that I learned how to play, um, like that I learned how to like solo over. Cause like playing jazz standards is a bit of a challenge, and I remember like struggling through a lot of songs. Like I would get lost and stuff, but this is one of the songs that I was like, okay, like I kind of got a grip of it, and to this day I still love playing it so much. Now, like I kept referring to something, I kept saying like jazz standards, and for those out there who may be watching who may not be familiar with jazz, pretty much like how traditional jazz works was um, they would play like songs like they would like jazz musicians would take like the pop songs of the day. So like "Alone Together" was a pop song in like the 1930s, and they would take these songs and they would add different chords to them, and then someone would play the melody, or one more than one person would play the melody when people get together, and then soloists would take turns improvising over like the chord changes of the song. All right, now um, there's a whole collection of thousands and thousands of tunes that are known as jazz standards. These are it's like the equivalent of like hymns at church, and like if you're familiar with church, like jazz standards are like that thing that it's like every jazz musician knows a certain set of standards, and depending on which city you go to or which group of people you get around, they have their own certain tunes that they always play or call. "Alone Together" is part of that collection, and I have like I'll just show it quickly. I have like this thing called a real book, and it's literally like a book of full of standards. It's like hundreds and hundreds of pages of like different standards, and I think "Alone Together" is in here somewhere too. But yeah, that was "Alone Together." Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna play another original. Cool, cool. So that was a an original called Meridian Place. So Meridian Place is actually a place in Meridian Place is a location in Barrie. Um, it's like if you're familiar with Toronto, I would call Meridian Place as Barrie's Eaton, no, not Eaton Center, Barrie's Young and Dundas Square, sort of, or Barrie's Nathan Phillips Square. It's kind of that I would consider it as like the center of Barrie. I'm not really that familiar with Barrie. I live in Toronto, but yeah, that's what I would call it. And I wrote this tune last September. Um, and I wrote it. It was kind of a reflection of my summer that I had in 2019. Last year, I had the wonderful opportunity to be part of an organization known as OMCI, um, that which you're watching the live stream through, and that like before last year, I'd never been north of maybe like Bradford before. So I had no idea. I'd never been to Barrie before. And at first, when I actually registered or applied for the program, I didn't know that it was going to be in Barrie. And I almost didn't do it when I found out, but I decided to just stick with it. And I'm really grateful that I did because I had the opportunity to meet some really, really, really wonderful people. And I got to know the city of Barrie a little bit. And I wrote this kind of as a reflection of that. It was also like this tune for me represents a lot of firsts, um because it was like through that program i I always knew like I wanted to have like a career in music, but I didn't know how to do it. And it was through that program that I received like practical advice and practical steps on what to do to make a music career happen. And before last year, I hadn't written any of my own music. Actually, I had. That's not true. I'd written some music, but this song also was the first song that I wrote that I performed in public. Now, like, um, and the first time I actually performed it was at Meridian Place. So yeah, so that's Meridian Place. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, I think I've done enough talking, so I'll play another standard. That was a jazz blues written by um, the great trumpeter Clifford Brown, and it's called Sandu. Now, Clifford Brown was amazing. If you're into jazz, I would suggest Clifford Brown as someone to check out. Unfortunately, he died at a really young age. He died when he was 25, but his contribution to jazz music is huge, especially for someone who had such a short career. It's I can't imagine what he would have done if he'd lived like a full life. Yeah. Um, I'm gonna play an original. Cool. So that was a tune I wrote called Forward Motion. Um, the story of why I called it Forward Motion is a boring story, and yeah, so I won't get into it. But yeah, that was Forward Motion. I hope you enjoyed it. That was actually my first time playing it by myself, like playing it solo. I wrote it for a quartet, but yeah. Um, I have I have one last tune, and before I do that, it's been a pleasure playing for you guys. Whoever's watching, I truly appreciate it. Once again, my name is Bureh. The last tune I'm gonna play for you is a tune called Kukum, about a national park in Ghana. it's been a pleasure playing for you guys. Once again, my name is Bureh. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing night and an amazing weekend. Take care.